Hi, this is Wishop, and this is a pick a card Adios reading for the channel. This will go through the end of the year. If you would like to be notified of sort of the next thing I do when I pop up again, you can send a note to this email address, aisle13@protonmail.com. I'll put you on the mailing list and I'll notify you when I'm doing new stuff. But if not, hopefully you still enjoy this reading and it'll still have something for you. So I'm doing a multi-card reading, kind of sticking with the one that brung me, which is a tarot card from the Tricker Tarot by Doug Thornsjoe. This is the Black Cat Lenormand by Alexander Musruck. This is the beloved Gypsy Witch, or at least I love it. Not everybody loves it as much. So pick a pile. We'll call it 1, 2, and 3. And it will hopefully have a message that'll have a little bit of advice or encouragement or something juicy for you through the end of the year. So here we go. I don't know if I'll need to timestamp or not. If this ends up longer than 10 minutes, I'll definitely timestamp it for you. Okay, so here we go. Pile 1, bouquet. So this is often a surprise. It's a surprise offer. In this deck, he's got it marked as Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a very lucky sign ruled by Jupiter. It's the Queen of Spades here as well. So this can be an offer, a gift, an invitation of some sort. Often this is extended, an invitation to do something, to go somewhere, to be something, or it can be an acknowledgement or a recognition of affection, that kind of a thing. So what do we have in the Gypsy Witch card? Oh, okay. Number 14, the Rider. In this deck, a sure sign of good news. So the Jack of Diamonds rather, can be a very material card. So often this is a card of material good news, something concrete coming your way. This is in the tarot, for example, if I think of this as the Knight of Pentacles, this is a card of a farmer. So it's things that happen in cycles. So oftentimes with the Rider, like you can see, this is the time for the Rider to take the jump. Things are arranged along a course, especially with this version of the Rider, where there's a set course. So the idea is this is a time. There's a time period. There's a moment when it's right to jump, when it's right to make a move. And it's a concrete kind of move that you're probably being invited to do, and something that seems kind of lucky, well aspected, beautiful. So let's look here and see what the tarot card is that we get with it. Six of Pentacles. So another great one. So Six of Pentacles is often a card of reciprocal sharing. It's a card of mutuality. So it's a card of giving and taking, of generosity. It's also about having enough to be generous, but also being cognizant of what other people are giving you. So rather than, especially because this is upright, rather than a card of indebtedness, this is a card of kind of free-flowing generosity and abundance. So when I see this card, the Six of Pentacles, which in a traditional tarot deck, I mean, here we have sort of, you might think of her as like an elementary school teacher figure, right? With all these children here. You might have someone in a traditional deck like a merchant, a wealthy merchant looking like he's handing out offerings to people in need. So the idea here, where we've got this Six of Pentacles, kind of a sharing card from somebody who has enough to share, we have the idea of good news coming in, good news of a tangible sort, with this Rider and this Jack of Diamonds. And then we've got the bouquet, which is typically happy surprises. And what's interesting to me is here we have a Six of Pentacles, and unlike the male merchant, this is a female figure. And there's even an owl above her. So I think of people like Athena or Artemis. I think of figures like that. And this is a Queen of Spades, who is a figure, an intellectual figure, a figure of discernment, sometimes a figure of judgment. So people can get a little worried about that. But here, this offer being extended to me looks like it's being extended from a figure of wisdom who has it to share. You know what I mean? Somebody who has this to spare and who is now seeing that the timing is right to make a concrete offer to you, or you see a chance perhaps to collaborate with this person in something that is concrete. I mean, with these diamonds in this bouquet, it's very well aspected, and it looks like this is a kind of situation of mutual benefit. So the person that you're dealing with may be somebody who you would see as senior to you or wiser or further along the path, but this offer is something that will benefit this figure as well as benefiting you. But it is probably something that puts you into motion, which is kind of exciting, I think. It certainly is a lovely offer, and probably one you should deeply consider taking. If you're ready to make a move, look for a figure like this to be offering you one, but make sure it's win-win so that you can take it without any fear of being overly indebted or having to be the junior partner. This is something that should benefit everybody involved. Okay, so that is pile number 1, which looks great so far. So here's pile number 2. What do we have? Moon. So Moon is often a career card for many people. It's also a card for things that happen at night, things that happen in the mental realm, things that have to do with reputation, creating images, the creative arts. So we'll see how this ties in. But the Moon can also be a career card. Of course, the leaf blowers are going now. I hope they don't bother you. So what do we get from the Gypsy Witch? Okay. Number 42, Amor, is a sign that someone is looking at you with great love and longing. And here we have Cupid on here. Now what's interesting, this is the Queen of Spades. And we had the Queen of Spades over here in this bouquet card. So there is a chance, because I said that this figure reminded me of Athena or Artemis with the owl, that this is also a related pile because we have the Moon. So the Moon can be when you're mooning over someone, you're longing for someone, and there's the idea here of love and longing. So this could be a personal relationship of some sort. Of course, we have the Queen of Spades, but we also have Cupid on this card. So we'll keep reading. The Moon is tied to Cancer, which is a motherly card. Excuse me. So there could be an influence of a maternal aspect or a nurturing aspect, but it certainly could be a romantic aspect as well. Let's see what we get here. Okay, 6 of Cups. So we get another 6. I like it. So this 6 of Cups, you can see here's sort of what looks like the Frankenstein's monster and a little girl passing a cup up under the moon. And sixes are reciprocal cards. And I will also point out that 6 in the major arcana is the card of the Lovers. So here we have a 6, which is a sharing reciprocity card, and this is a reciprocity card. So what's interesting is this is a sharing of tangible resources. This is a sharing of emotional resources. This is heart to hearts. This is intimate confidences. This is sharing your deepest feelings and your deepest wishes. And to me, that is really connected with this idea that someone's looking at you with love and longing. There is someone who has a deep concern for your well-being. And it's interesting because in this case, where the moon could be career in Lenormand, but here, because of the very emotional quality to all this, I'm going to say that there could be someone mooning over you, or you could be mooning over someone else. But the idea is that you are looking for a reciprocity, a kindred spirit, so to speak, a real kind of intimate sharing and emotional generosity. If this is tangible generosity, this is emotional generosity, someone who is emotionally available and supportive. Now I'm sure you can hear the leaf blowers. They are so loud right now. Anyway, I'm going to press on, but I like this one because this could be a situation, if you picked pile number 2, where you're asking yourself whether or not a certain person in your life or that you're considering could really be an emotional support for you. And this is very promising. If you don't have an emotional support, this might signal that you want one, that you're really looking for someone who could be close to you. The idea of the moon, in terms of if you're looking for someone, and we have Cupid, oh my gosh, could they be louder? They just keep getting louder. It's going to be crazy. Okay. Well, the idea is if this is the moon, this could be someone who you meet at night, or someone who's involved in creative work, someone who has a poetic quality about them. So it could be that if you're looking for an emotional confidant, you should look for someone who has that kind of creative, emotional, poetic nature. But because the moon is also a card of mental activity, or at least the moon is considered to rule the mind in like Vedic astrology. This is the idea that you want to blend your mind and your heart, because you want to make a real honest assessment as to whether or not this person can be trusted with your heart, so to speak. Now, this is interesting because the little girl trusts the Frankenstein monster in that story, or Frankenstein's monster. And so the townspeople are horrified, but she feels a sense of trust. So this is not about running your selection of a confidant past everybody else for approval. This is about listening to your own inner voice. And especially if you just need someone to talk to about an ongoing situation, knowing who to trust may be a matter of someone who's a little bit unusual, someone who's a little bit outside your normal circle, but someone who is willing. I mean, we've got Cupid with the arrows, and the arrows can sting. Someone who's willing to be an honest and supportive confidant for you, and to try to give you the support you need, but possibly also tell you what you need to hear, to reveal things which are hidden to you, or to help you see things in a different way. So that's what I see here. But to me, it's very promising, but it could be a bit of an odd couple relationship, so to speak. It could be somebody who's not part of your daylit world, not your day job type person, but somebody who lives a little bit of a different life, you know, and that's the way in which you connect with this confidant, this kindred spirit. So, okay, that's what I have to say about pile number 2. What do we have for pile number 3? We have the fox. So in this deck, Alexander Musrick has the fox as Scorpio. I often really think of the fox as a mercurial card. So fox can have to do with things like one's divine purpose, with being skillful, with being resourceful, with being clever. It can also do with deception, but we'll look at the other cards and we'll see whether or not this fox means you or someone in your life. Because these cards have a little bit of a related quality, I sort of am thinking of the idea that the person who is your confidant could be someone that other people think of as being a fox or a trickster or somehow a little bit sketchy. But it could be this person's wide experience with unusual things, or maybe even the darker side of life, to be honest, with difficult experiences. That's what really helps you the most, because this person has seen some things and been through some things, and that really allows them to be useful. So let's see what the Gypsy Witch says. Oh, there we go. Okay, number 12, we've got the Queen of Diamonds. Children signify friendly disposition and gentleness. So this, again, look at this. Six of Cups a lot of time is seen as a card of nostalgia. And I didn't mention it because I don't usually see it that way, honestly. But it is what some people see. And so I suppose if I'm saying it's a sign of love and longing, you would want to be cautious about wearing rose-colored glasses when you look into the past, about imagining things as being better than they were. And you'll want to use your discernment, the Queen of Spades, your discernment to differentiate what is sentimentality or making things feel better than they are with how things really are. So I didn't mention that because a lot of times for me, it's not particularly a card of the past. It's more a card of kindredness. But look at the queens we have here, right? Because we have the Queen of Spades here, Queen of Spades here, Queen of Diamonds here. There is definitely this energy of divine feminine power. So that might represent you. It could represent someone that you're involved with. And here we have the idea of children with this character, which is play and gentleness and fun. So that to me emphasizes the kind of point that I was starting to make about the fox, which is that this fox could be someone who is seen by others as a trickster. But that doesn't mean they're not a good time. With you, you could see them as mischievous, but mostly fun, that they're not out to hurt anybody. They're playful, and you find them clever and resourceful and interesting. Yeah, and that's really coming from, where your heart's at in terms of assessing what this person might mean for you, or what kind of ally perhaps this person could be. Let's see what we have here. Okay, we have the Knight of Swords in reverse. So let me flip it up here so you can see. Here's the pumpkin riding a bat. The Knight of Swords can be a brash character, a very bold character, sometimes a hasty one. Probably the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Wands are the fastest cards in the deck. So I would say, since this is in reverse, it would say if you are involved with a foxy type person, or if this represents you and you're trying to be resourceful about self-employment or about starting a new venture, because the children with the fox, if the fox represents divine purpose or a new venture or something like that, then this could represent the very early stages of that. So if you are in a new venture that you're just starting out, a new part of your path, it's just saying, don't be too brash, don't move too fast. Make sure you are moving cleverly. And I would say, given the rest of these readings, even though each one is sort of separate, it's saying, I think it's saying you don't need to do all this alone. You can have confidants, you can have backers, you can have people who will lend their resources and their emotional support to you, that will encourage you and will also fuel your progress. So don't feel like, for the sake of running, you have to race out in front of everybody. Because here, where we have children and we've got these two together, it's really emphasizing to me the point that even though the fox is seen as sort of a clever loner at times, this is really emphasizing how clever it is to collaborate with other people, rather than feeling like the Knight of Swords, you have to run out ahead. So hopefully you found any of those readings, or all of them, interesting. I will put timestamps because I can see now we're over 20 minutes. So definitely timestamps will be necessary. And I will also put the foundation cards, meaning what's on the bottom of the deck, in the description. Oh, what the heck, I may as well just show them to you now. The foundation card of the Gypsy Witch is mice. So mice can mean things like financial loss. Now this is at the bottom of the deck. So this to me looks like you are trying to move away from this position. You're in a position where you feel something is being nibbled away, something is being lessened, soiled. It's being decreased. And as it's being whittled away, your mind is on starting something new or getting somewhere new. Oh, and this is funny. Just right after the mice, at the bottom of the Gypsy Witch card, is the bouquet. So here we go again. Here's the bouquet. So let's look at the bottom of this. Here we go. So the bottom of the Lenormand deck is 22, the path. This one, so here's in Lenormand, let me pull this up. This is the Queen of Diamonds. So again, we're covered in queens everywhere we look. And the path is the card of the Oracle. It's the card of determining your future. So it could be, if you're a reader or a diviner, this means something about the path that you're taking in that realm. But it could also mean that as you are trying to move from feeling like you're losing, like you're in a losing position, and you're trying to move into something new, you've got choices to make, which makes sense, right? Choices about your decision. But one thing I like about it is this path, 22, also Alexander Musrick's associated with Libra. This is a card of partnership, right? The 22, you can have a 2 on either side, right? So this relates again to me to that idea of the sixes and the Lover's card, and the balancing of a collaboration, the decision on how best to make a winning collaboration. And I suppose I should point out here too that the mice on the bottom, this is another 6. So this is the 6 of spades, which can be moving away from trouble. It can be trying to get a rescue or a bailout. So for me, a lot of times this really does mean a rescue or a bailout, the 6 of spades in playing cartomancy. So again, we have this idea of not going it alone, but collaborating. So your desire to move away from this situation could cause you to try to take action alone. But whether or not the situation is emotional or financial or career-wise, it looks like there's a very fruitful collaboration that could be available for you. Okay, and at the bottom of the tarot deck is the 8 of Swords in reverse. So again, we have the idea, as most people think of the 8 of Swords, of being trapped or feeling limited. So this card definitely exemplifies that. We have a person who's in a cage holding up a jack-o'-lantern, right? And here's this bat here and the moon and the little devil down here. And I sort of feel like this is sort of like a guard, you could say. So in reverse, I feel like you're not limited. And while I think of this almost as like raising the bat signal, like calling for help in a way, I feel like you don't need help. You need a fruitful partnership, if that makes sense. This is not about your teaming up with other people because you can't figure it out yourself or because you can't move forward under your own power. You certainly can. I think you definitely can. You have the resources. I think you have the ability to move out under your own power, whatever direction you're going. But I think you don't need to. And I don't think you're limited to the solitary path as your only way out or to looking for a bailout. I think partnership is the way out. I think, again, something which is win-win. I think this is all about win-win. You know, when we look at the Lover's card, we're not thinking about, oh, who is the superior partner and who is better and who is worse. We're thinking about a sharing of complementary beings, complementary voices, of complementary approaches to life or to business, complementary personalities, that kind of stuff. And I really see that exemplified here. So if you're in a state where you're ready to move out of where you are, you definitely want to get away from partnerships, so to speak, that are running you down or diminishing you. That's not necessarily what you need to be doing, but open your eyes to really look for partnerships that could be win-win, because there are some people, no matter how well established they seem, you know, no matter how maybe superior in some way they seem, they would be very interested and benefited to team up with you in a relationship, in an endeavor, in a work situation perhaps, or some new initiative you're taking on. So that's what I see going through the end of the year. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I will leave the channel up probably for another week or two. It'll be another couple weeks, yeah. And then I will pull it down. I'll just deactivate it. So if you've had a private reading with me, you'll want to go grab a copy of that somewhere. If you want to learn about geomancy, go watch those videos now, because the circus wagon is going to pull out of town, and it's very exciting. I'm excited about it. I am very grateful for the time that you've given me. I'm grateful for your attention. I'm grateful for the privilege of getting to read for so many of you. It's really been a delight. And I wish you all the best, and rock on with your bad selves.